Part 3.
Yes, it is.
All right, sir. Here we are, back again on the farm.
To our farm series.
And today we're talking turkeys.
Today we're going to talk turkey.
First it was chickens.
Yeah.
Then it was ducks.
Yeah.
And now it's turkeys.
Correct. And the one thing I want to recommend to all of you homesteaders or the new farmers, turkeys are the hardest.
Okay, interesting.
Bar none, the hardest to go. They're big, they're messy, they're aggressive, and man has really messed up the turkey.
Okay.
You know, the butterball thing and all that GMO or whatever, the chromosome changing. You know, we've always raised a heritage bird. They're not big.
Okay.
I mean, you're not gonna get a 30-pound. Well, you can raise a 30-pound turkey if you want.
Okay.
We chose to go with the heritage breeds, and it's more of it's a 10 to 12, 14-pound bird.
Okay.
And turkeys can fly. So another challenge for those of you out there, if you've got a big field, they're a much bigger animal, much more to deal with. Now you feed them the same thing as the chickens. And you can kind of house them with chickens, but it's not recommended. When they're babies, it's okay, but there's something about chicken poop and turkeys getting a disease. But turkeys need some room. They need to get up and get out. And if you've got an open space for them, I wouldn't recommend turkeys in a backyard of an HOA by any means. They're going to be in your neighbors, because they can take flight. So unless you're in there chopping wings and trying to make them unflyable, and then the male and the female are completely different in their temperaments. The males are again very aggressive. They're very showy. They're a beautiful bird, depending on the breed that you get. But you go into that coop and they're all going to fan up and start strutting around, and they'll peck at you and they'll follow you. They'll actually chase you out. Several times when we've had turkeys in the chicken coop, the girls will take a stick in with them just to smack the turkeys away.
Gotcha.
And they always get you in the hip, and they sneak up on you. It's pretty wild. And if you got a kid in there, the turkeys go right after the kid.
Are turkeys considered poultry or whatever? So it's not waterfowl, obviously, like the ducks are.
Yes, it's poultry.
Okay.
And they lay eggs. Their eggs are excellent, but they're not on the same regimen as a chicken. Okay. So a turkey's only going to lay so many eggs a year, which is very few. And the mating process is still going to be there for you. And turkey moms will get broody, and they'll sit, and if you want to go through that process and have the babies, it's something pretty special.
Interesting.
Especially if you get a heritage breed and you're in the mood you want to breed these birds specific to continue the breed and then go through. You're going to be as nervous about those chicks hatching as the mom is. Okay. Making sure. Now,
are they fragile when they're babies?
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Turkey chicks are how do I kindly say, they're dumb. Okay. They're really hard. They just, and I don't know if it's because of what man has done. I don't see how they would survive in the wild you've actually got to show them how to drink out of the water to the food. And the moms, if you're going to do one with a broody mom, they're incredibly protective. Okay. So, but it's a monkey see, monkey do kind of thing. Okay. So we've got some chicks here that are in the brooder right now, which AJ will get you guys pictures of. And we're really nervous. We got them from the hatchery, and I think we've got 30 in there. And typically, if you're going to buy from a hatchery of a living chick, you're going to have about a 30% loss, which is lots.
Yeah, that's huge.
And all of that is mostly because of the way the turkeys are, the way they identify. They dogpile on each other. You got to keep it very, very warm. And then it's that making sure that they're actually drinking, they're eating, and that there's nothing wrong with anybody. So,
are they cannibalistic?
Not like chickens.
Okay.
Yeah, chickens are they're the dinosaur for sure. But turkeys, the chicks are very frail, and it takes a while through the brooder to make sure that they get big enough to handle it on their own once we make that move from the brood box to the outdoors.
Where does one get turkeys from?
Same place you get chicks from.
Tractor Supply or anything like that?
Sometimes
really?
most of the time they'll have them.
Okay.
Again, we get if we're going to buy a big group of turkeys. Now, this group I was hoping to have for Easter, but obviously they came after Easter this year. So now we'll be running these, and hopefully we'll have some done, and we'll do another batch for the Christmas rush too. But turkeys for us, we'll run the 22, 26 weeks, see where their weight is, how they look, and then we'll go ahead and harvest them and then put them in the freezer.
So at about 26 weeks you can...
Depending on their size, if you're comfortable with their size.
Okay.
And again, the breed, they make 90-day turkeys, which will, same thing with the chickens that are like the butterball, which is those, and they are just gross.
Are you shoving food down their throat?
No, but they don't move. You got to bring the food to them.
Okay.
Because they're so big, their legs aren't strong enough to pick them up. They poop on themselves. It's pretty gross. What man does to its animals to make them more meaty and profitable, it's pretty gross. We don't choose to follow that path. For us, turkeys are great eating meat. It's part of our foray of poultry birds with the chickens, the turkeys, and the ducks. And of course, we're a very small outfit here, so we aren't trying to do 1,000 birds a week or a month or anything like that. But we just wanted to offer our members here at Rogue Rhino that alternate. If you're going to eat animals, you certainly should know how they were cared for and what they're fed. It just makes common sense. But a lot of people don't get that, that if you're going to go to Costco and buy a turkey or the grocery store and buy a turkey, you can't even fathom the conditions those birds were raised in.
Right.
And how disgusting it was and what they had to do to disinfect the bird and everything else. And
well, what amazes me to hear about, I don't want to get off topic here too much, but like you hear about these bird flu comes in and swoops in, and they have to kill a million birds because it's that close, tight, packed in with each other, and to prevent the spreading, there's other conspiracies out there too, but to prevent the spread of whatever the illness is, you got to kill 1 million of them. Yeah, like that's insane to me.
It is insane. Again, that's that CAFO. CAFO is a confined animal feedlot operation. Most people would probably reference that term to cows, but they do it with pigs, they do it with turkeys, they do it with chickens. Pigs, turkeys, chickens are all done indoors. So they are they are jammed together. Okay. Totally jammed together. So in one of those big old long houses with turkeys, there'll probably be 200 or 300 dead birds in there, and nobody even know. Gotcha. Until they start moving them around. So, and again, what we feed our birds, I think we've showed or shared that with you with scratch and peck. Definitely high quality organic feed, and then all the other fun stuff that turkeys get with the other birds here would be all of our veggies, all of our spare clippings. But turkeys, like chickens, are meat eaters, so they'll go after if by chance we've picked up, they'll chase a little lizard around the coop there, or if a mice gets in there. Okay. It doesn't have a chance.
Is it wrong to feed chickens chicken?
Yeah, probably. Although they are carnivores, right? But most people think chickens are meaty or are vegetarians, which they're not. Turkeys are not either. They'll eat meat. So. Oh,
and I'm sure they eat bugs and other wildlife that get in the coops.
And for you hunters out there, I would love to hear your comments about wild turkeys. We do have a family member up in Oregon who hunts wild turkeys, and it's fascinating how hard they are to hunt.
So
how aware they are
yes.
and what's going on, and they're secretive, and it's a big deal.
The very first hunt I ever did was a turkey hunt.
Yeah.
And I was 15 years ago. I was in a lot better shape and a lot younger. And I ran after, it had been 2 or 3 days without seeing anything, and I ran after one, and it was too cunning for me, and I ended up not harvesting anything that year.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was difficult, very difficult to hunt.
Yeah.
And this is a little thing, did you know that the eagle was almost not our national bird?
Right,
it was almost the turkey.
Right.
Because they're smart.
They're very smart.
Yeah.
And they were plentiful back then too, in the wild stages. So I don't know, is there wild turkey in Arizona?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
100%. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Not a ton of them, but yes, there is.
I'd love to see what kind of breed they are.
I would love to tell you what I shot, but I didn't shoot anything. So
yeah.
I shot the air.
Yeah, my relative, they actually, it's only a bow hunt though. It's not a gun.
No, mine was rifle.
You're a rifle?
Or shotgun.
Yeah. They're all bow hunters. So,
okay.
Which even makes that whole game a lot more challenging. But that's, for turkeys, like I said, it's going to be your hardest of the birds to raise. They are great consumers of a lot of food too. So when you're thinking of that food ratio, what's it going to cost me per pound to feed this bird? Yeah, how many, is a 50-pound bag going to be enough to feed a bird for its life? No, not even close.
Okay.
So its feed ratio is going to be pretty high. And that, again, it depends on the breed that you want to buy. And also remember, they take flight. That's no little thing. I can't tell you, when we put our turkeys, we're going to put them in this back coop back here, and hopefully they'll stick around. But sometimes they might take flight, but they usually come back. So at my old place, my neighbors knew all my turkeys because they were over there all the time. And I think the food was better over there than it was at my house. But they'd usually come back. So that was how that worked.
What's a good start-off ratio? Now, again, don't start turkeys if you haven't done ducks, and don't do ducks if you haven't done chickens.
Right.
Would that be pretty sound advice?
Yeah. Well,
start at the bottom.
Yeah, I would say, chickens, bar none.
Okay.
That's your break-in. That's the break-in
Gotcha.
bird. Yeah. And they're fun, they're cute, and same with the ducks. But ducks, it's a little bit different. And again, this might be your preference of eating.
Right.
A lot of people don't like duck, so why raise it if you don't like it?
Right.
So,
right.
But I go chickens and turkeys. You can kind of mix and mash a little bit, and the turkey will be much bigger, but much more fragile as a chick.
Okay.
Where chickens are pretty dang. Once they get their thing going, they're pretty good.
So the turkeys are much more fragile as a chick, but
Right.
much more hardy.
Once they get the chickens
grown.
are hardy too. The turkeys are just much bigger.
Okay.
And now, if you've got a rooster if you're going to mix the two, the rooster and the male turkey will have issues.
Oh,
There's some territory. They'll go after each other, and where the rooster kicks for defense.
Okay.
The turkeys will kick and peck, but believe it or not, the rooster will probably tear up the turkey, and they could possibly kill your bird. So it's good to separate the boys, get them out of there. Now, turkeys won't bother the chickens, but the roosters will bother the turkeys.
Okay.
So I don't know if they go after a hen. I haven't seen that, but we'll see the boys. They'll be bashing each other. It's a turf war.
Do you need to have a tom in with the females?
Nope.
No. Okay. So that's a male turkey for those who don't.
That hierarchy is a chicken gig.
Okay.
And chickens sleep up. Turkeys are down on the ground.
Right.
So, and what they call a pecking order with chickens is once you watch, and they are fascinating to watch, to learn their behaviors. You'll see that the rooster has his queens, and the pecking order is the pecking order, and he's going to be at the top, and how they all do that once they get up on their perch. Now, wild turkeys will perch in trees. My turkeys that fly, I've never caught them in trees.
Okay.
So they'll perch on my fence, But I've never seen that do it at night. I've always seen them sleep on the ground.
They just adapt to where they are then?
Yeah, I would guess wild turkeys would probably be, it's common sense because of ducks don't have the ability to jump on a branch and hang on to where the turkeys do.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Never thought about that.
So I know we'll have to ask our turkey hunting buddies out there if they've ever spotted their birds up in trees.
Not that I can think of.
Yeah, and if they sleep in trees or if they sleep up like chickens like to do.
Gotcha.
For sure. But remember, that bird's going to be, 3 or 4 times the size of a chicken. So he's going to consume that kind of food and he needs that water. Back to the same thing when it comes to the Arizona sunshine. No misters. Same kind of problems where these birds get sick. Through air is their big enemy. So a fan is okay. They like to kick. They like to get in the dirt and to keep them cool down. But the Arizona sun is really blistering. So if you're going to have birds, have yourself a little shelter for them to go in and hide during the heat of the day, and then they can come out in the mornings. They'll go out and hunt for insects and bugs, and then in the evenings until it gets dark, and then they'll come back in. So,
do you need to rotate them where they are, or just keeping them in a decent sized coop?
Decent sized coop, for sure.
How many could you have in a coop? I mean, obviously, this is dependent upon the size, but let's think backyard grower, backyard homesteader type person.
I wouldn't do more than 4 or 5.
Okay.
But never. Turkeys, you can actually isolate as a one or a couple.
Okay.
And they'll be just fine. Where chickens, one, you got to...
Technical difficulties, got to deal with overheating issues in the Arizona heat and all that good stuff. So
it is Arizona.
Yes. So we were just finished up, and we're coming up on our short mini series here. But we had talked about the last thing we talked about was how many to keep in a coop. So turkeys you could do individually, or 1 or 2s.
Yes.
Chickens you have to do at least 2 at a time.
Yes, for sure. And again, stocking density is going to be up to you. I've never been, in my younger years farming, we always overstocked. And when you overstock, you're gonna get disease. It just multiplies the problem.
Okay.
So if you're targeting your birds like we are for harvest, figure out what you're going to want to raise, how much you're going to eat, and then raise them in accordance, and scatter that out. The less stocking density, the healthier the bird.
Okay. That's
so
good to know.
if you put 20 of them in a 10 by 10, you're going to have problems. You put 5 of them, do you want to eat? You're going to need 20 chickens to eat? Typically not very many people will do that. So depending on your area. I mean, if you've got a half acre, it's a whole different ballgame. And now you're going to be putting some money in feed, but...
All of these birds that we've been discussing, where are they getting their sicknesses from? Is it coming from outside birds?
Could.
Okay.
Yeah, and outside air, birds, it could be, there is a myriad. Again, since the viral is airborne.
Gotcha.
So
there's stuff that's blowing past us that will affect birds but won't affect us.
Yeah.
So we're getting hit with it. We're just not bothered by it, but it's going to affect the birds.
Right. Their immune systems aren't going to be able to handle it. So, and that is again is by your area. So if you're living in a mountain valley, and you're going to have a lot less problems because of the cold air. And chickens can handle the cold a whole lot better than they can the heat.
Okay.
So when you stress the bird like that, it's just going to make them volatile to sickness.
Gotcha.
So if you're going to raise your birds through the summer like we do, you gotta give them that sun break, that heat break. But again, it can't be misting water and stuff like that.
Fan, dirt.
Yeah.
Cool dirt.
Yep. Make them, if you don't have that, do like a sandbox for your kids, get some loose soil in there so they can get in and kick and dig and do what they got to do.
Gotcha.
Give themselves a good dirt bath. And, watching what's going on. Mm-hmm. Keep an eye on them. If you've got the opportunity to drag them into a cooler barn, go ahead and move them in on those really super hot days. And the rain shouldn't hurt them, but the wind, we get these monsoons blowing through here. It's holy cow.
You're going to have turkeys flying away.
Yeah, you're going to have stuff blowing all over the place. And then we're, again, now we're back to that airborne viruses coming in from all over. I'm sure you've heard of, the
Valley fever.
Valley fever.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you can get it. I got it when I was a newbie here about 20 years ago. My dogs got it.
Yep.
Horses get it.
Yep.
So it's and that was a fungus. I think it's a fungus.
Correct.
In the soil.
Correct.
If I'm not mistaken.
I did a paper on that on microbiology. So yeah.
Did you?
And it's called Valley fever, not because of the Arizona Valley, but because of the San Fernando Valley in California. Is where
it did start over there?
Yes.
Wow.
So yeah, but it came, and then it's in everything over here. But yes, it's for those of us who are native Arizonans kind of have a natural built-in immunity, whereas people who come into Arizona are the ones that always get sick.
Always. Your first couple of years.
Yep.
Yeah, you're gonna. I caught it for sure. And it was big. Now, also, one thing I did want to touch on real quick before this video ends is when you're cleaning a turkey, I found is a lot more difficult than cleaning a chicken. So your first couple of times, have somebody with you that's a veteran that can show you what to do. There's ways you can, if you make a mistake in cleaning your bird after you've taken the feathers or defeathered him or her, in your evisceration, if you break some parts in there, you're going to sour that meat really quickly. So the digestive system of the turkey is kind of sort of like a chicken, but definitely a lot more trouble can be had, and you don't want to sour your meat just because you cut the wrong thing or you pulled too hard on something you weren't supposed to pull, and bringing the lungs and everything out of the bird. So just have somebody that's done it before. Take your time. I mean, I think the first time I sat down and did 9 turkeys, gosh, it was probably over 3 hours. I was very frustrated and very tired when I got done.
Sure.
And I still had somebody over me, do this, do that, do this, do that, and it was a lot of work. And when you start connecting yourself to your food like that, you appreciate it so completely different.
Absolutely.
When you're actually doing the harvest, you're feeding them, you know what's going on, and now you're doing the slaughter, and that chicken or turkey or duck has a completely different meaning than running over to Costco and buying them for whatever, and buying a butterball and that type of thing. So it's homesteading, and we're all about food sovereignty here. So please let us help you. If there's anything that we've learned over the last 15 years, get us some comments, ask questions. I'll be more than happy to help you. Again, roguerhino.club is the name of my farm and my group that I represent. AJ?
Blue to Green Podcast, bringing you the information. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Can't wait for the next series.
Cheers.